Who is J.K. Rowling? J.K. Rowling was born on July 31st in 1965 in Gloucestershire, England. In her early life, she went to Tootshill Primary Elementary School. Her teacher was very strict. Mrs. Morgan sat the kids on the sides according to how she thought how smart they were. Jo, J.K. Rowling, sat on the not-so-good side because she had a test on fractions and she never had learned about fractions, and she failed. Jo sat on the not-so-good side because of her score in the fractions test. When Jo was in high school, she started thinking about a boy who had a scar and had a family that he really did not belong to. She had a perfect name for him, Harry Potter. Then in 1997, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was published in the United Kingdom. Harry Potter is very popular in the United States and in the United Kingdom.
Thomas Jefferson was born in Virginia on April 13, 1743. Tom married Martha Skelton in 1772. Tom was the author of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Tom was the third president of the United States of America and held 2 terms. Thomas Jefferson's face is on the front of the nickel and his famous house is on the back. Thomas Jefferson is one of the 4 great presidents on Mount Rushmore. He died at age 83 on the 15th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1826.
Dr. Seuss was born on March 2nd, 1909 in Springfield, Massachusetts. Dr. Seuss, his real name was Theodore Seuss Geisel. Dr. Seuss went to college at Dartmouth and met Helen, who convinced him to be an illustrator. After Dr. Seuss and Helen got married, they went on their honeymoon. When Helen died, Dr. Seuss was sad that she died. Dr. Seuss wrote over 60 children's books in his life. Dr. Seuss was the first children's author to win a Pulitzer Prize. When Dr. Seuss died on September 24th, 1991, many people were sad. Did you know that The Cat in the Hat was only written using 225 words? Green Eggs and Ham only used 50. Yertle the Turtle was the first children's book to use both.
Bill Gates was born October 28, 1955 in Seattle, Washington. Bill's real name was William Gates III. His family called him Trey because Trey is a card player's name for 3. When he was a kid, he would rock in his rocking chairs for hours. When he worked for Microsoft, he would rock in his chair for hours because he said it helped him think. Bill Gates is famous for making the first computer that had the screen attached to its keyboard. He also made a deal with Microsoft and the IBM. IBM stands for International Business of Microsoft. I'm done.
Stanley was born on December 28, 1922 in New York City. He got his job at 16 as a comic writer. Stan was asked to make a team of superheroes, so he created Spider-Man, the Hulk, Captain America, and many more. After that, it got so popular that there was movies coming out. Right now, he is 95 years old.
Neil Armstrong was born on August 5th, 1930 in Ohio. He had a brother and sister. He got his first plane ride when he was 6 years old. He loved drawing and building paper planes and really wanted to fly planes. He played in a jazz band. He went to college and he went to the military and married Janet Sharon. Later, he signed up to be an astronaut and went on July 16, 1968.
Apollo 11 went blast off to the moon, and Neil Armstrong was famous being the first man on the moon.
Rosalisa Macaulay was born on February 4th, 1913 in
Tuskegee,
Alabama. She had a brother named
Sylvester.
In 1932, she got married to Ramonda. She worked for the NAACP and Ramonda too. December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks refused to give a white person her seat on the bus, so she got arrested. So Rosa Parks died October 24th, 2005. She was 92 when she died.
Jane was born on April 3rd, 1934 in London, England. Young Jane was very curious about the wildlife. Jane's dream was to go to Africa. Then a letter changed her life. In 1954, an old friend of Jane's sent a letter to visit her. It was hard for Jane to get near chimps. One day, Jane gave a piece of fruit to one chimp. Then the chimp started to like her. Jane's work is famous because she wrote an article about her work in National Geographic and made films and wrote books.
Jeter was born on June 26, 1974 in New York. He lived close to Yankee Stadium. Derek dreamed to play baseball with the Yankees, but his dad hated them. They were the last team to let black people join. Derek went to Kalamazoo Central High School. He played for the Maroons. One day, Derek got a call. He was on the Yankees. Derek was proud. In 2006, he won his first World Series and Rookie of the Year. The next year, he got 3,000 hits. Derek retired in 2004. Derek is 43 years old right now.
Jane was born on April 3rd, 1934, in London, England. Young Jane was very curious about wildlife. Jane's dream was to go to Africa. Then a letter changed Jane's life. In 1954, an old friend of Jane's sent Jane a letter to visit her. It was very hard for Jane to get near chimps. One day, Jane gave a piece of fruit to one of the chimps. Then the chimp started to like her. Jane's work is famous because she wrote an article about her work in National Geographic and made films and wrote books.
Malala was born on July 12, 1998. She spent her early life playing with her brothers and going to school. She lived in Mingora, Pakistan, but got shot and had to move to Birmingham later. When she was in high school, the Taliban started attacking. When the Taliban started taking away the rights for girls to go to school, she started speaking out. She even made 2 books about what the Taliban were doing to her. One was called Diary of a Pakistani Schoolgirl, and the other one was I Am Malala. Finally, the Taliban stopped not letting girls go to school. One day, when Malala was riding the bus, 2 people stopped the bus. One of them got in through the back and said, "Who is Malala?" No one said anything, but some girls glanced at Malala. Then, watching where the girls looked, he pointed a gun at her and shot her in the head. Malala had to go to 3 hospitals to get healed. When she finally got better, she kept speaking out about the Taliban. She said, "If I've lost anything, it is fear. If I've gained anything, it's confidence." Finally, the Taliban stopped trying to take over Pakistan. For her braveness, she was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. Malala now lives in Birmingham with her mom, dad, and her 2 brothers.
Our part is about Babe Ruth. Babe was born 1895. Babe Ruth went to the Hall of Fame in 1936. He hit 714 home runs. At the end of his career, he led the Yankees to the World Series.
Joan of Arc was believed to be born on January 6, 1412. No one is quite sure. She lived in Domremy, France with her mother, her father, and her siblings. When she was 16, she heard voices and she realized it was St. Michael the Archangel telling her she was destined to help the Dauphin become king of France. When she went to Orleans, France, she cut her long hair and changed her red dress to boys' traveling clothes. Joan was prepared for battle against the English. Then she got shot, but then she recovered. She had another war against the English, and she got captured by one of the Englishmen. They had a trial because they thought she was a witch. They thought she was guilty. Then the English shaved her head and burned her.
Bruce Lee was born on November 27, 1940, in San Francisco. When Bruce Lee was very energetic as a kid, he'd always run and jump around. When he grew older, he left San Francisco to film a famous series called Batman and Robin. Years later, he died filming a movie, the original Crow, a scene where he would get shot, but the directors actually put a real bullet and they shot Bruce Lee. They still released the movie, but didn't show the scene where Bruce Lee died. Bruce Lee was remembered at the Walk of Fame at Los Angeles. Bruce Lee was born in San Francisco, Chinatown, 27th.
Betsy Ross was born January 1st, 1752 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Betsy was the youngest child in her family. Betsy was famous for making the first 14-starred flag. Betsy was very hard working because she had her own shop. She was also very crafty because she sewed and made a lot of crafty things. Betsy was married to 3 people and had 14 children, and only 7 survived. Betsy worked till she was 75. Betsy Ross died January 30th, 1836.
John White was born on September 3, 1986 in San Diego, California. He had a heart condition called tetralogy of Fallot and had 2 surgeries. When he was 7 years old, he won his first amateur competition in the mid and late 1990s. His ability to land difficult tricks helped him win 5 national titles in the 12 and under division. In 2004, John hurt his knee and had to get surgery on it. In the spring in 2005, Sean became the first person to win a medal in both Winter and Summer X Games. He then was on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno.
Alexander Graham Bell was born in Edinburgh, Scotland on March 3rd, 1847. Alec invented the telephone, telegraph, and the photophone. He helped the deaf. His mother and wife were both deaf. Alec had a best friend named Ben. He and Ben would horse around at a flour mill owned by Ben's father. Alec loved music. His mother taught him how to play the piano well.
Elizabeth was born on September 7, 1533 in England. She was born as a princess. Her father was the King Henry VIII, and her mother was Queen Anne. King Henry was not happy. She was a girl. He wanted a son, so he sent Elizabeth away at age 3. Elizabeth had a private teacher while she was away, and she became smart, learning 7 languages besides English. When Elizabeth was 13 years old, her father died. Elizabeth's half-brother became king. When he died, her half-sister became Queen Elizabeth, became queen. When she was 25 years old, after her half-sister died, Queen Elizabeth remained for 44 years old until her death.
Presley, known as the King of Rock and Roll, was born to Vernon and Gladys in Mississippi on January 8, 1935. His twin brother Jesse was stillborn. Elvis got his first guitar when he was 11 on his birthday. Elvis became popular for his rock and roll and his dance moves. Elvis died from heart failure from drug abuse. He died at age 42 on August 16, 1977. They still do tours of his house called the Home of Elvis Presley. His house was a mansion. He was getting ready for his next tour when he died from drugs. He is still the king of rock and roll.
Davy Crockett was born on August 17, 1786. He never liked school. He ran away until the end of the day and joined his brothers and pretended he was with them all along. In fact, he never went to school until he was 13. When he grew up, he got married twice. His first wife died from illness. His second didn't die when he was alive. He became a politician. He worked hard for a land bill for squatters. Squatters are people who head west for a new life, but didn't succeed. Later, his brother entered Congress and did succeed. The Texas Revolution came. He enlisted. Then he went to the Alamo. He died there on March 6, 1835.
Thomas Edison was born on February 11th, 1847, in Milan, Ohio. He was the second of 4 children. He worked as a newsboy on a train. He had a lab in it. One day he did an experiment and it caught on fire, and Thomas Edison got fired. Thomas was known for inventing many things, like the electric light bulb, car batteries, and an electronic voting machine. In 1887, he made a company called Orange. Thomas Alva Edison died on October 18, 1937. When he died, President Hoover requested that all lights should be shut off at 10 p.m. for 1 minute. Thomas Edison was one of the world's most famous inventors.
Who was Harriet Tubman? Harriet Tubman was born in Dorchester Country, Maryland in late 1819. Harriet was a slave. She spent most of her time escaping slavery. She was a teacher, nurse, and a scout for the Union Army in the Civil War. Harriet did not go to school because she was a slave. She died at age 91 by having sickness.